because now I'm without my headphones, but hopefully you guys can hear me. So I left out the most important part of this process, which is adding the texture into Substance Painter. So we have already bumpiness and all that. Now, sometimes you can project on here the gills, or not the gills, scales and stuff like that, and higher fidelity things that you could do really amazing stuff with textures in here. But we just wanted to get through the pipeline that you're able to bake the high and the low onto this object. And so if we export this out, we'd have all these beautiful maps, and it's all baked onto this low fidelity mesh that is retoped correctly. All right, so one of the things I forgot to do is show you guys how to add the texture to this. So I also did another bad thing. I already shut down ZBrush. But in ZBrush, you guys know in where that field where it says texture, and remember how you flipped it, you can flip it again before you export it, and you'll need to flip it. Now, if you don't have, if you did like what I did and you screwed up and you have it turned off and you can't get back to that image, you can go into Photoshop and you can flip this horizontally. So, you're gonna go Image, Rotation. I'm totally faking this right now. I have no idea how to do it, but I think you hopefully flip the canvas on horizontal. So I'm gonna cross my fingers and Command Z. That was the wrong one. So we want to do vertical. So let's rinse and repeat, rotate, and we're gonna do a vertical. All right, that is correct. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and export out. I think if you save as, it'll be a PSD, but we actually want, you could use a PSD, it's fine. Let's just go ahead and export it out as a PNG. All right, just gotta make sure we got 2K. For some reason, there's transparency, don't need that. And go to desktop, hopefully fish. I think it's fish 2. Nope, fish, Substance Painter. And I'm gonna call this some other name. Okay, flipped. Okay, that way we know what it is. PNG is fine, hit okie dokie. All right, so now let's go back into Substance Painter. We're almost done. And I even show you how they get this into Unreal. Probably won't do that because you can watch the other tutorials that we did in class for the Henderson. All right, so what we're gonna do is just do a paint bucket dump. All right, you can see right here, we wanna drag in our material right into the base color, because if we look over here, you can do a 2-point view here. Take a click on one of these, it'll show you 2D or just 3D, and we have 2D and 3D on. So over on the right, you can see, you guys know this by heart, your UV mapping, okay? So we wanna make sure, let's see if I move that. Okay, we don't wanna move that. All right, make sure you don't move that, all right. So it's UV mapped. You should see the texture, how it's gonna lay over that. But we need to bring in our texture. So I'm gonna go import resources, add resources, flippy flip, open. And we're gonna tell it to be a texture, okay? So this is very important. Go ahead and do your session, current session. Okay, probably should tell you how to really put that, but that's okay. So we have that, and we should be able to see our textures over here. So you can click on here, start finding where our materials are. All right, I'm gonna pull our assets over to here. You can drag it, and I think it'll become part of the backdrop here. All right, so we have our texture right here, and it's flipped. And so all you have to do is click. I'm doing this with my mouse pad, big no-no, and we're gonna go to base color. All right. So you can see it is upside down, the wrong one. So this is the one it was a flip. So let's import the one it wasn't flipped. So maybe I flipped it incorrectly. So let's go ahead and, good thing this is happening, okay? This always happens, right? Add resources. Let's do the one that wasn't. So we have the high. Maybe I already flipped it beforehand. So we hit open. Tell it to be a texture. And current session. All right. So we see it's flipped here. We're going to click and drag. Again, big no-no. You can actually drag it onto the object or base color. Let's just do it on the object this time. All right, it didn't work. Let's do it again. All right, so now it is working correctly. All right, it's a very sad fish. It was, frozen for a long time, but pretty quick because that was done in photogrammetry, so we didn't have to model that. So you can see if we were doing a whole buffet of different fish, we could do that. So you can add a fill layer, add your black, add a generator, do all the cool things that we've done before, add a dirt pass. Let's go in here. Let's do a grunge layer. Then gonna go back to my generator. All right, so we've got all these different passes on our generator. Let's see, flow, spacing, opacity, size. Oops, doing everything wrong here. All right, dirt level. All right, so we have a pretty high dirt level. I'm gonna go down pretty low and then do a contrast, and then a grunge amount. All right, so this is this guy kind of getting the fish dirty in certain underbellies, masking. So anyways, I always do kind of some dirt passes to kind of add some variances to your scan. All right, you can always turn it off and on, kind of see what the difference is. I don't think I did anything, but anyways, someone was putting a barcode. You can do all kinds of cool things with your fish. All right, so let's get to the very, very last part. We're going to export mesh. Export mesh. Triangulate, that's fine. That's going to go into a game engine. Desktop. All right, so Stubby is the project I was working on. We're going to do fish. And we're going to do a folder called Unreal. All right, Unreal. So it's going to be a FBX. We'll call it fish. Fisher friends. All right, it's going to be a FBX. Save. All right, and then we're going to export the textures. All right, this is the last part. You guys should know how to do this. The templates are there. It shows you what they are. We're going to go ahead and tell this go to Unreal. Then we're going to make another folder called textures so we know where it's going. Kind of keep it nice and clean. Hit open. And we're not going to do a PBR metallic roughness pass. We want to do the Unreal packed. So these are 5 textures packed into 3. All right, and I showed you how to parse those out into RGB for the metallic, or I don't know what that pass was, but you can, one of these passes has them packed out in RGB, so you can parse them out in the material editor in Unreal Game Engine. All right, so we got 8-bit, blah, 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 based on the size. I always just like to say 2K, hit export out. All right, and there we go. All those textures, let's see if we can find it. Of course not. I'm not gonna show you my desktop because it is horrible. So anyways, we have a mesh, very, very lightweight, less than a megabyte, with this high fidelity with the normal maps, textures, roughness patch, metallic, all that's packed in there. So in a game engine, we could definitely do flocking of a sequence of thousands of these, and it would be able to do it. All right, that is it. I'm gonna go ahead and upload this to YouTube's